Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's 100% Metroid Fusion. In the last part, we accessed Sector 1 and 2 for the first time, learning about the identity of the thing that scared the shit out of us at the beginning of the last part too, the SAX, our mimic. And now let's continue on and ignore the fact that that thing entirely exists because it scares me and that's not good. The rest of Sector 2 is actually fairly simple though. It's here that my one blunder in this 100% run happens. The one item I could have actually gotten basically as soon as I beat the next boss, I completely forget to get. There was an item right next to it that I get, but I forget the other one. So I'll tell you about it when we get there, but for the rest of the part, I'm technically one missile tank behind what I should be. Though I'm going to tell you how to get it, so you hopefully won't be. Also, I recommend saving, because the next boss can actually kind of be annoying. Now, as for this next boss, first off, the next energy tank is right in front of it. The way you're supposed to figure out how to get here is by going back a few rooms. There was a bunch of blocks that were obviously bombable you could bomb through. And that'll lead you to this room, but you can't get up here otherwise, so you need to go the route I just went you to get over here. And obviously, since we're at another door that has a name that starts with a G that I don't really remember the name of, nor do I care, you can tell that we're at the next boss. Also, I haven't mentioned it yet, but Metroid Fusion's soundtrack is very atmospheric. However, it loses out on a lot of the catchiness because of that, outside of maybe 2 or 3 examples. Either way, the next boss is Zazabi, which is a giant jumping condom. The way this boss works is that they will jump about 3 times, and then they'll try to jump on top of you, opening themselves up for damage and a missile up the butt. There is a faster way to do more damage to it, and I believe that's to jump while you're shooting the missiles, just so you can get more in at a faster pace. But if you're doing what I'm doing, you're basically fine. Every certain amount of missiles, you will destroy a section of Zazabi. You're technically supposed to be dodging, but I just decided to say, haha, no, I'm just gonna tank the damage because honestly I have more than enough health at this point. Once it reaches its last section though, Zazabi changes a bit. It now opens up every jump, but the hole is smaller, so you need to be a bit more accurate and as well a bit more tolerant of damage because it's going to be hitting you a bit more often. After that, it enters its Core X phase where it's the exact same as everything as usually. By the time you get to this phase, the boss is basically dead because by now you should hopefully be used to fighting these things. And for beating it, we get the ability it was using, High Jump and Jump Ball. That is actually a very interesting thing about the bosses in this game. If you pay attention to their pattern, you can tell what ability you're going to get from them. Zazabi jumped high, Arachnus rolled into a ball, the Elephant Bird obviously shot the Charge Beam. And I like that detail a lot, actually. There's only really one example where it doesn't do that, and we'll see that, I think, towards part 8 or 9. I forget the exact part number. But now that we have High Jump, we can get back to that navigation room, so let's do that. You okay there, buddy? I think you're in a cocoon state. Weird. Okay, let's continue on. The bugs in here are in a cocoon state too. Weird, but you're still there, Ed. That wasn't there before. Okay, I think the SAX was around here. But thankfully, there's a bomb segment for us right here. Luckily, that thing's far gone by now, right? What? Oh, shit. Do not go down there. You will die. Though, fun fact, if you actually do try to encounter the SAX right now, it like Adam said, it treats you like a Metroid. It'll hit you with the ice beam, which will freeze you, and then it'll shoot you with missiles. But yeah, don't go down there. You will die. Thankfully, it's gone now. Now, we're actually coming up on the item I could have gotten but forgot about because it wasn't on my checklist. It's upcoming in this next room. There's another missile tank in here for us anyway, but there's another one in the water. In the water, there's a wall you need High Jump to get over, as well as use a little bomb platform that you can bomb on top of a block. Once you're over there, you can jump over there, get down into that room, and get the missile tank, but I forget it's there. I think what my mindset was at the time was, I know there's an item down there, but I need a later ability to get it. Like, I think I needed a certain ability that allows us to ignore the water entirely, basically. But no, you don't. And these guys are in an even more advanced cocoon state. That's not too good. Ah, well, let's just get the hell out of here. Well, I say let's get the hell out of here, but there's still 2 more items I need to get. Actually, no, 3 items. One of them is a longer way. The other 2 I need to go a bit off the beaten path for. But it is the best time to get them, basically, no matter what, though. Because over here, I believe, is a missile tank. And the other two, I think, are also missile tanks off the top of my head. I think one of them might be an energy tank, though. Honestly, maybe 3 times out of 10, I forget what the item is until I'm in the room to pick it up. Because Metroid Fusion 100% is something I've done before in my life. It's just the fact that for both this and Zero Mission, 100% requires going out of the way enough to the point where I don't really consider it. These are games I enjoy more so speed running. Except in a few instances in this game, because this game gets annoying. Either way, in this room, we could have come in here earlier, but we wouldn't be able to do anything because these little destructible blocks need to be destroyed with bombs, which we can only reach with it when we have Jump Ball. Jump Ball, by the way, is really useful. You never need to use bomb jumps again. Not that you really needed to in the first place. You will still need to use some of the little bomb platforms, though. And there was another little transition for me to check my checklist. I am really thankful that Metroid's one of those games where the timer doesn't count your pauses, because otherwise this would have been a lot longer of a run. Now, we could have come in here earlier, but we weren't able to get this missile tank because we can't destroy that gelatinous mess of whatever until way later in the game, so we need high jump in order to get over it. And with that, we're done in Sector 2 for now, so let's head on over to Adam after doing a quick recharge. 80 missiles, pretty respectable. That's actually about 3/4 of what I've usually finished the game with. I usually finish the game with around 120 or so. How you doing, Adam?
Samus, we've got trouble. Releasing the security lock may have been a bad idea. The SAX has invaded the water environment in Sector 4, with several thousand X. With the blue hatches active, the SAX slipped in easily. The creatures and systems in Sector 4 are already showing multiple irregularities. I'm currently investigating. I'll brief you in the navigation room when you arrive. Is your objective clear?
Yep.
Now head for Sector 4.
Alright. Part 3, and we're already entering our 3rd sector. Sweet. The SAX, an enemy with my strongest abilities, but does it have reason? Probably not, it's just a killing machine. In my current state, I can't face it head on. The SAX is me, only heartless. I must stop it before it learns its potential and threatens the universe. I don't know, Samus. The X-Parasites in general seem like one of those things that put the universe's existence as, threaten the universe's existence just by existing themselves. Because their only real purpose is to not only multiply, but devour. It's kind of like the Borg, almost. Only the Borg have some amount of sensibility. By the way, welcome to Sector 4, the water level. And it's also, off the top of my head, I think it's the largest area in the game.
This sector is taking more damage than expected. I knew the X were powerful and destructive, but still. This seems to be purposeful. We certainly can't rule out the possibility that the SAX has a high degree of intelligence. I find the X fascinating, especially this SAX. But I digress. This sector is home to a very large creature that researchers call Serris. It is capable of moving and attacking at ultra-high speed. The more senseless and widespread destruction here may be attributable to Serris. No doubt the SAX released it, but I can't be sure why yet. Serris is returned off into the breeding tank here. Its natural behavior must be to go back to it periodically. It's a viable specimen, but you've been authorized to terminate it. If you don't, it may invade other sectors. Is your objective clear?
Yep.
While you're moving, be careful. Some broken power nodes have electrified the water, but it can't cut the power. Doing so would affect the whole station adversely. If you touch the water, you'll be electrocuted. Conserve energy as you go.
Alright, don't get zapped. Gotcha. Sector 4, I say it's the water level, but at least for right now, we're actually avoiding the water at all costs. Because as he said, it's a Zappy Zood. And that's no good. Sector 4, though, is one of the more dangerous... Well, those are weird looking. One of the more dangerous sectors so far, because a lot of it's actually complete platforming, because you're trying to keep away from the water. And I actually really like this sector. I do go out of my way for something here that I actually completely recommend waiting for, because I'm going after 2 missile tanks right now. And you can wait until after the boss fight to, later this part, I believe it is, to get these. Because you'll be coming into this room after the boss fight anyway. I'm going for them now because I'm doing the mentality of get them as early as I can, but I do recommend waiting for them. It is very interesting trying to pick which items to go back for later, though, in the case you're going for, like, the best ending image. Because there are some that are completely easy to get at the point where you can reach them first. But the time you save by getting them later on can be pretty significant. Or because you don't have to backtrack as much. Or at least it doesn't feel like it. Speedrunning is weird, especially for Metroid games. The only game, I've mentioned this before, the only games I've done real speedruns of are technically Metroid 1, because I've done Suitless Samus best ending, which is under an hour, so that means I had to have killed Kraden Ridley and Mother Brain in under an hour. And Zero Mission, because Zero Mission is very comfortable for speedrunning the main storyline. It helps that the main storyline itself is fairly short. It'll probably be about as long as this, because I'm doing that next if you haven't figured it out by now. But it'll be a lot easier for me. Oh, so there's an energy tank there. That is, you actually have to go out of your way to get that no matter what, so might as well do it now. Plus, it's an energy tank. You should want it anyway. In terms of my normal playthroughs for this game, though, you can probably basically see what I end with in terms of percentages just by looking at my other two LPs. Because I generally have, into the second row of energy tanks, around 120 plus missiles. And later power-ups, well, not too many up because you have more than enough to start with, usually. I do believe it is possible for you to get into the water that's right below me and jump over by doing enough platforming over to this little ledge here. But it's not worth doing because you'll take enough damage in the meantime. I mean, sure, I have 5 energy tanks, which is a fourth of them, but I think that's technically 599 health. It might not be enough. Because if I recall correctly, at least, the electricity drains your health pretty rapidly. I try to stay out of it, so I honestly forget, but oh well. And there are some things with this game I've just forgotten because I'm so used to how I play it, you know? Like, we all have that one game where we're so used to playing it this one way, but that playing it otherwise just feels kind of weird. That's Mega Man in general for me, honestly, because if I go on different routes, that can completely screw up my thinking. The only game where I might vary up my route a little bit is probably either Mega Man 6 or X5, maybe. Or X6, but that's just because X6 requires having several pathways open to you. God, I hate the Nightmare Effect system. But let's stop talking about Metroid because by the map it's boss time. That's a skeleton. Well, Serris is dead then, I guess. Also, you can look in the background, you see those little, like, brown things in the yellow? If you look at the one right behind the skeleton, it makes it look like it has an eyeball. I always thought that was its eyes, too. Playing a game when you're young makes you think a lot of weird things. Also, something broke that girder. That's why we actually had to go the other way to get the energy tank, because something broke that girder there. And based off the fact we're in water and there's a boss door, I think you can figure out what's going to happen next. Also, if you're playing this on loud volume, and the background music's like very audible, you might want to lower your volume a little bit, because it's boss time, and the boss is Serris, and Serris is loud. Serris's pattern is to dive in the water and go into the floor where he'll dive out somewhere else. You can take missiles to his head to destroy him, but the better strategy for that is to actually use a charge shot alongside the little slash that it generates, because that can take him out in 4 to 5 shots. This is very alien to me to do this, at least was when I started doing this strategy, because I used to just cower in the bottom right corner and shoot a missile in Serris' face whenever he came right there. Because he will rise up just below right next to the bottom right corner. Also, Serris is one of the best boss fight themes in the game because it's really catchy. But Serris is loud. A lot of the bosses in Fusion have sound effects that I feel like they try to push the Game Boy Advance speakers to the limit. And I've heard stories that it actually has popped the speakers before, so push it a bit farther, Nintendo. Either way, once Serris reaches the Core X phase, you know what to do. You've seen these before. I recommend staying on the platforms for this, though, because fighting a Core X underwater means you have to deal with water physics, and that means you might take a lot of damage you don't need to take. But for beating Serris, we get the speed booster back from Super Metroid. However, as I mentioned in both playthroughs of this and both playthroughs of Zero Mission, they changed it from Super Metroid. Since we don't have a run button this time around, you just need to run for looks to be about 3 tiles on the map. So you need some charge up space, but honestly, I kind of prefer this version of the speed booster. Possibly because it's the one I grew up with, but also because it means that you don't have the chance of accidentally screwing up. And this is what I meant earlier. You don't need to get those 2 missile tanks until later because you came over here after the boss fight anyway. So I technically lost some time by doing that, but oh well. But if you try to go back to the navigation room to the right, you can't because we can't get past that giant wall due to the fact that there is water in our way and we can't blow up the bomb blocks. So we need to find another way around. Thankfully, you might remember before we went upwards a bit back to get towards where Serris' tank was, there was a blue door. That blue door is our key to success in this instance. So let's head on over there. Also, I love using missiles. Missiles, I think, are still the most powerful thing in the game, at least at this point, in terms of doing damage, and they can kill a lot of enemies really quickly. Having this many is really good for that. Speed boost through, and we can do this, which lowers the water. And this has more than one effect. First off, the water's lowered, so that means you can actually walk in those areas now. But because the water goes below where the power nodes are, missile tank by the way, the water is no longer electrocuted, at least once it goes below those little pipes. If you do it too early, you might accidentally still take some damage. But with that, I'm going to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 4, we'll be exiting Sector 4 and seeing what Adam has for us next. See you guys then.